Alright everyone, we start off today talking about Bernie Sanders fans, the Berniebawlers, because they're still crying over the fact that Biden destroyed him in the primaries. And how Sandanista Sanders has been exposed as like a complete consumerist sellout by this. And this is somewhat hyperbolic. It's sort of a NIMBY thing, and I'll get into it. I'll explain. Link in the description, of course. First and foremost, there will be a pinned comment down below, though, if you're watching this video on YouTube. Keep in mind, with the links there to 4 other video hosting sites, I make 4 videos a day, only 2 end up on YouTube. There will also be a link to my Substack, because I've been making journalistic content. You should definitely join up there. You can also write articles. It's an interesting site. It's sort of like a non-censored version of Medium, so it's pretty good. Well, link in the description again. Not archived, because it's just a tweet from me laughing at Bernie Sanders. Apparently, when he's like traveling and shit, if he's stopping into a hotel for some engagement, he demands a king-size bed in his room. I'm thinking to myself, like, it's not really an extravagant thing. If you're not going to, the Holiday Inn Express or something, you're probably going to get a king-size bed anyway. But I do find it funny because it's just a microcosmic variant of the same thing we see like with Al Gore, who will rant about climate change but own several private jets. It's sort of a rules for thee, not for me mentality. And the thing is, I don't ask for much, even from like political figures, especially if they're on the left. You can't ask much from them anyway because they're too busy stealing from you. But be consistent. If you're going to sit there talking and ranting about how evil capitalism is, then forgo the king-size bed. If you're going to talk about how consumerism is destroying the world, the oceans are going to rise and drown us all, well, again, then don't have a private jet like Al Gore. Don't insist upon mass consumerist decadence like Bernie Sanders and so forth. Then he demands that his room be kept at 60 degrees, which is very, very low. I'm assuming, although this is just a presumption technically on my part, that this is some sort of symbolic gesture about the climate, about not using so much electricity or something. The problem is, if you know anything about basic common sense, if you cool the room down temporarily, of course, and the system's not working as hard to cool the room, as opposed to keeping it at an ambient temperature. I'm not sure how particularly efficient that is, to keep it cool, as opposed to heating it up like a sauna. I don't know, I'm guessing, most of his engagements are in northern New England, so it's rarely above 70 or so degrees anyway, except in the middle of summer. So I'm assuming this is related to energy efficiency, but the thing is, as soon as he leaves, the next person probably doesn't want it at 60 and has to crank it back up. That forces the system to work harder to return to the ambient temperature. So if that's the reason why, if it says I suspect a symbolic gesture about climate change, it's just another example of him showing a lack of basic reasoning skills. But, I mean, this is Sandanista Sanders, so he and his fans generally, they're not operating with a full deck. If you believe in his wealth tax, his economic principles, it just shows that you don't understand basic economics. You have there's a reason why even the Democrats don't take this shit seriously. Like, there was never even, the wealth tax idea is not even being considered by the main line of the Democrats, let alone anyone in the center of politics. Even elements of the left, well, if they talk about it at all, they water it down. About the only mainliner I think that's even discussed it is Schumer. But Schumer's all in on all of these proposals. See, he's getting up there in age now. He's trying to be like one of the cool kids, so he's trying to grift off the younger, like the commie generation and shit. But it's funny to see them, the Berniebawlers, get livid about this, because their response is, well, it's having a king-size bed, that's not an extravagant thing. How dare you criticize their messiah, Bernie Sanders? Yes, but it's an element of NIMBYism. I'm not playing by the same rules I expect for others. We have even the mainline Dems at times, like Obama used to say this, well, we need to get used to a lower standard of living. We need to learn how to make do with less. But I need a king-size bed and all of these other, technically frivolous things. By the way, socialists, in a socialist country, you can't even afford a bed. Your bed is the ground, or maybe, if you're lucky, a dirty tile floor. Maybe you have a pillow. That's considered an extravagant luxury, I'm sure, at this point in Venezuela. So yeah, I mean, he shouldn't have the king. He should sleep on the floor. He should be pushing for the abolition of beds because they use a bunch of chemicals and non-renewable sources of fabric and all of these things. Why can't you just sleep on cardboard, on a bunch of cardboard boxes? But he probably did that back when he was a hippie back in the 1970s or something. That'd be funny he was actually doing that in his commune. This is a recyclable bed. You know, after a while of getting pissed drunk and vomiting all over it, you have to throw it out anyway. You can just feed it to the worms in the commune compost pile for your collective farm. He's an interesting guy. Interestingly stupid. I think it's more funny, though, and more showing, really, when his fans get angry anytime he is criticized. It's like a cult of personality sort of thing. Biden has this a little bit, but he doesn't have many fans, so that's about all. Peace out.